Right. We in enough time, and we got it.
Good.
Set, ready to
It's
go.
always on time.
Me and Brother Rob, on time. Just behind the scenes right now. There go Brother Rob.
How y'all doing?
All right, there you go. There, they gonna start coming on in a minute. We are getting ready.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Y'all know who this is. It's your boy, Rob Thomas Jr. And once again, I've been honored to be here with Pastor Linus Mayes, my big brother. We're going live in the paint on it. Yeah, we're going hard in the paint on it. We got a lot of interesting topics to talk about today. And again, it's an honor to be considered. Y'all give me a second to move this card. I should have enough. We're only doing 30 minutes, right?
Oh, yeah.
That should be it now. Oh, I gotta get something. I was trying to pull a piece of wood up yesterday by myself.
You did?
Yeah.
You be hurting like me,
yeah, man. When you get in the 50s, man, them
all these surgeries and stuff. Yeah.
All right, y'all. We finna get ready to go live. Once again, we got Pastor Mayes. Real talk. It's about to happen, y'all.
CDs are available by visiting the website www.scorby.com. All rights granted by Litchfield and Associates.
They make the hits, and we play them on Shreveport's #1 gospel station, The Heart of Gospel. 980, 93.3, KOK.
There you go.
Alpha Media or its affiliates, but are solely those of the participants on this particular program. Hello, I'm Pastor Linus Mayes. And I'm Curtis Ray Davis. And this is Real Talk Radio. You are about to experience Real Talk Radio, the show where we discuss the relevant issues of today's changing world. The show where we focus on the concerns of the community at large. The show where we allow you, the listener, to voice your ideas, opinions, and concerns. Real Talk Radio starts.
Well, welcome to another edition of Real Talk Radio. I am the truth teller, your man, Pastor Linus Mayes, along with my good friend, my brother, once again, who I love in the truth, as Paul said, one of the freedom fighters out here in Northwest Louisiana, getting it done. None other than the man himself, Robert Thomas, with Real News Behind the News. We have a host of things that we want to jump right on in. First of all, we want to say welcome to all of you for tuning in. And you can call KOKA 980 AM, 93.3 FM on your dial. You can call in. The call-in number is 318-221-9802. And on Real Talk Radio, we just strictly give you an opportunity to call in to talk about some of the things that you see going on in the city, and just be a voice for the city, where on other hands we have been voiceless. We want to have a platform that will allow you, the listening audience, to call in to speak to your local officials, and that we can press them to do that which is right by the whole city of Shreveport. So, Rob, welcome to the show again, my brother. You know I love you.
I love you too, Pastor.
Yeah, you just want to tell the people for a brief minute once again who you is and what you've been doing and how you've been doing it, brother.
Well, again, I'm Rob Thomas Jr. I have a platform that's called The Real News Behind the News. It is basically something that the Creator put in my heart to do, again, because like Pastor said, somebody has to be a voice for the voiceless. And all I simply try to do is I don't try to make people think along the lines I want them to think, like your regular media does. My job, I feel, is to, if nothing else, get you to ask questions. So with the real news behind the news. I just try to keep it real, and y'all see me on Facebook. Sometimes I might use a little colorful language, but even in that, I'm using that language to reach reach the people who normally, has been disenfranchised by our local media, our state media, national media. So
Right.
I just try to speak truth, and that's why I love being here part of the Real Talk, because it's real talk.
Well, we're going to dive right into it. We know that there's a lot of controversy out here concerning the statement that former attorney John Settle made. John Settle has been making these kind of statements for quite some time. He used a derogatory term to talk about African Americans. And Rob, I just want you to speak to that and how we know, those of us who've been going to the city council and fighting both the council and racism and white supremacy, have heard this kind of language before out of Mr. Settle and others. So would you just speak to that? We know that what he did, he made a comment relating to tar babies. So he ain't the only one on the council that made those kind of comments. Where he's an attorney, he's not on the council, but the council members of the city council have made those same kind of derogatory remarks, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, just for the simple fact that you say he's a former attorney, lets you know that this man has no scruples, in a lot of cases, no morals. Wasn't it just, about 4 years ago, he got caught up in a sting where he was, I ain't gonna say a legend, he got caught up in a sting trying to solicit a prostitute for $200. He's been the kind of guy who likes controversy. Half the time you see him at the city council meeting, he's drunk.
Right.
We know that he has a problem with alcohol, maybe substance abuse. We don't know. That's alleged about the substance abuse, but we do know he's pretty much intoxicated. So he had to be intoxicated when he made this statement. Now, you got to realize the power that Settle has, because he's the sheriff's boy.
Right.
And part of that publication that he's on, one of the publications he's on is the Inquisitor. Now, everybody likes to read the Inquisitor, but the local chapter of the NAACP has come together to ask for a boycott of anything that's John Settle, whether it be his newspapers, his Facebook page, anything that reminds this man or will give this man a platform to black viewers, black listeners, black subscribers. NAACP has joined together to call for a boycott, which I'm all favor for, and it's long overdue, because again, Settle has a history of inappropriate comments, inappropriate behavior, and conduct that's not becoming of a quote unquote gentleman. So that's the way I see it.
Well, you are most definitely right. We have been. He's been at the city council meetings constantly, like you have, and others that has been in this fight for quite some time. John Settle has made his views known, where he stands as it relates to his positions, as it relates to African Americans in this community as a whole. He hadn't been shameful. And what do you think about these, the Negroes that would say, well, we just need to give him a pass, or if he come with a good apology again, that he wasn't, I guess the terminology that they use now is that wasn't what he was trying to say, but we know that that's what you meant and that's what you said. So what would you say to those politicians that, that's behind the scenes would say, well, there was just a mix up in words, or, how they try to use certain things to appease black people?
We should boycott them also, because that means that they are in collusion with I guess you could say, a closet racist. I hope that I didn't seem too extreme when I said that, but we know, the word that he used, the phrase that he used, tar baby. Now, if you look at the Oxford Dictionary, it says that it means something that's going to pose a difficult problem. But knowing the tensions here in America, knowing the racial rift, why would you choose that word anyway? You could have just said problem.
Right.
He could have easily have avoided that word, but that word came out, and him being skilled and as a lawyer, he knows how to walk a tight line. And he used that word knowing that it could be, on one hand, misconstrued, and at the same time, it could be used, in a different light. But he chose his words, I believe, based upon his
beliefs,
his beliefs and the way he felt. So there's no apology. And then, too, at what point do we get tired of letting people like this get a pass, though? I mean, when we know that there's a consistent pattern of overt racism, unscrupulous behavior, how long you gonna keep giving a person a pass?
That's it. And the scripture declares, out of the heart the mouth speaketh.
Exactly.
So he was really speaking what was in him already. So we just, on this radio broadcast, we speak truth to power. We don't fear anyone but God. So I just believe, and you are exactly right, I believe Mr. Settle, like others in this community, says what is within them, and God allows that to come out publicly. The Bible says there's nothing that is hidden that will not be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
So that thing that is hidden within them, within this city, racism, white supremacy, and all of that must come out. Now, we're not saying that everyone in the city of Shreveport has those views, but we saying Louisiana, Shreveport itself being one of the last holdouts of the Confederacy, they tried to protect that old way of life, but they don't want to move forward as a community. We talk Christianity, we talk love, but love and Christianity is to be expressed, is to be shown. And I tell people on my radio broadcast all the time that, we got to stop giving people passes. Exactly. And we call out. Some people say, well, Pastor Mayes, why do you call out the Negro politicians and the white politicians and the sellout? Well, to me, Rob, a sellout is a sellout. Yes, whether he be white or black, or whether he be independent or Republican or Democrat, a sellout, a hypocrite. A sellout is just a sellout. Mm-hmm. So, we wanted to hit on that because we heard Brother Lyndon with the Parish Commissioner, Lyndon Johnson, our friend. He made a statement to the media. He said that there was bipartisan togetherness in this call for to repudiate the words of Mr. John Settle. So I'm saying, from what I saw on television, I didn't see bipartisanship. I didn't see a coming together of white people who have the same views that we have, that this kind of behavior cannot be tolerated. I saw the NAACP president and a few others at the church which Montreal Whitaker did exactly what I would have done, spoke out immediately on these things, on these problems, to bring some attention to our people, that we cannot go to sleep now that we got our foot on the gas. We got to call these things out. We have to speak truth to power. So what do you think about that, Rob? Do you think that there was any form of bipartisanship or coming together, as Brother Lyndon said at that particular meeting on that day?
Well, first of all, I want to, my big brother Larry Burke says, no pass. The next one going to try it too. You know what I'm saying?
Larry, right.
You continue to let one person get away, that emboldens. Look what happened with the Donald Trump syndrome.
Talk about it.
Trump came in, now his followers, those closet racists,
right,
felt it was time to come out the closet, and now they standing right on the front porch. So no, you can't give them a pass. But as far as the NAACP, I'm glad to see they took a stance on this, right. But can I just be real? Even though it's a racist, they did something dealing with a racist. I mean, it's an easy stance for them to come out on because there's nothing really that they're going to be jeopardizing. I would like to see the NAACP come out on a united front. As far as the united front, bipartisan front, I didn't see none but black people in there.
Right.
I didn't see none of the white politicians on the parish or the city level, coming out at least condemning his choice of word. At least just say you chose the wrong word and we don't stand with you. But getting back to the NAACP, I would like to see them actually use this momentum now to actually tackle some of the real issues, of oppression and white supremacy here in the community, such as getting more vocal about equal housing, or getting more vocal about,
Police
education.
misconduct.
Yeah, police
Yeah.
misconduct,
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Right.
So again, I think that John Settle said what he meant and tried to be slick by using that term, which could have been taken two different ways, because we all know
Right.
that there is a history of that word, or that phrase, tar baby, being used as a negative connotation to black folks. So
right, and just for a moment, Rob, I'll switch the conversation for just a moment. We are asking, I know Curtis is in the hospital with high blood pressure. We got one piece of legislation that is pushing forward, but we are also asking our state legislators, we are asking for the remover of qualified immunity for these police officers. I have suggested back then and now that the police officers have what's called error and omission insurance. So to make them pay out of pocket rather than taxpayer, the taxpayers of the city having to pay out millions and millions of dollars, so that we can stop some of the behavior of these officers that are getting away with murder over and over and over and over and over again. And the reason why our show is Real Talk, because we are not influenced by any politicians. We're not influenced, and we're not trying to win curry or favoritism with none of these people. It's about telling the truth to the people of God, telling the truth to the people in general, so that they can understand that we are the people of the United States of America, and we do have a voice in this community. And I told one politician a while back that just because you are elected, that's not an ordination. Most of these people get elected, they don't call you, they don't talk to you no more, they don't answer their phone, they got private numbers, as if they don't work for taxpayer A and B.
yeah,
They just feel like once I'm in that position, I have no right to listen to you, hear your concerns, or you don't have the right to voice your opinion. This is what these people, it's some form of, Robert, entitlement is what they feel. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, especially going back to the police. Think about this. Most times when the police commit act of violence, you got to realize the police committing just any act of violence here in Shreveport as the citizens, in a sense. I mean, think about it. We got 3 that's under federal indictment right now. That's sitting in prison for excessive force. One of which, Travion Brooks, was a center of controversy because of his part in the death of Anthony Childs.
Right.
So what happens when these police create this type of misconduct? It's not punishing them if I got to pay for it.
Right.
It's not punishing them if you got to pay for it. You see what I'm saying? They're getting away with murder in a lot of cases. And in the cases where there is misconduct being found, we are paying for it.
Right.
I didn't put no billy stick across nobody's head. I ain't punched nobody in the face, but a portion of my tax dollars go to pay for their criminal activity. That's not fair.
And that is right. And that's why we have been working, those of us that are continuing to work with the Innocent Program out of New Orleans. I work with them with our good brother that got falsely accused, spent 33 years in prison, Glenn Ford. And I went to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals with his family, trying to make sure that the family got some money. But Louisiana, the state legislators have laws in place to make sure that if you're wrongly convicted, you get the least amount of money as possible. And so that's why this judge race, we want to hit on that for a minute.
Yeah.
This judge race is so critical and so important, because your legislators write the laws, the police enforce the laws, and so we as a people, we got to change some of these unjust laws in this city, and got to stop being afraid and trying to win buddyship with this one and that one. I've gotten all kind of awards from the governor and everybody else. When I speak to them people, I speak to them just like I'm talking to you right now. So Rob, what do you think about that? What do you think about not only the qualified immunity that we're fighting for, that needs to go, but what do you also think about some of the things that's going on in the city as well?
Well, I want to say 2 things. In that judge race, you have Judge Garrett going against Judge Marcotte. Again, this ties back to John Settle, because they're on a smear campaign to smear Judge Garrett. And I'm of the kind of person of the belief that a person like settle endorses, or anybody that settle tries to smear, that's the one you don't want to vote for if he endorses him, and the one that he tries to smear, that's the one you want to vote for. Now you have to look at something. Going back to the laws, there was a bill before the I guess say the state legislature that would allow low-level, non-violent offenders to receive certification after going through certain classes that would allow them to come out of prison and be placed with certain teachers' certifications. Steve Prater had a very instrumental part in defeating that bill. And basically, ain't Steve Prater the one who said we can't let the good Negroes go or let the good inmates go because we need somebody to wash our cars? Then Steve Prater said we can't let the good inmates go because we need somebody to change the oil, to cook the food at the jail. I see no problem with a person. I mean, come on, ain't this a Christian thing to forgive? If
Right.
you've done your time, why am I getting out steadily doing time because now you label these strikes? You would rather see me back and forth inside your jail,
Right.
as opposed to educating a future generation in the mistakes that I made. Now that I'm able to teach these young ones, I can let them know that a mistake does not necessarily hinder you. But Steve Prater had a very interesting hand in shutting it down. And again, Steve Prater is going hard to paint, slandering Judge Garrett. So again, anybody that Steve Prater slanders is somebody you might want to look at, because these people might have best interest for the group that Steve Prater wants to see continue to in the recidivism, keep coming back and forth to the jail. So yeah, again, we have to, as Black people, we can't just keep waiting on the news to tell us what to think. We have to start thinking for ourselves. And when we start seeing programs such as, I think it was called Coffee Bean or something like that,
Right.
programs like that will allow individuals to earn a degree to come out as teachers, you can't help but to lose, because you're taking somebody now, giving them a second chance, a meaningful job, and also you're teaching our generations, younger generations, that that street life ain't about nothing first and foremost, and that there is redemption, there is hope. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. And then we're gonna send a shout out to the district attorney, because James is bringing charges against some of these police officers that are doing crimes against humanity. And we, as a Black race of people in the city of Shreveport, must wake up. Now, this judgeship race is very important, because y'all know we have had a problem with gerrymandering. We have had the deck stacked with all white juries, that sending your children to jail for perpetuity. So we're going to have to get out to vote, because if we continue to set back, we can no longer depend on some Negro politicians, because there's some that are trying to do what is right. We got to get grassroots advocacy workers in these positions, and we got to bag them with our money so they would not be subject to special interests and big dollar money.
Yeah.
So we got to coalesce together and give our demands to those politicians, and stop this stuff about, well, give them 4 years and we'll give them 4 more to see what they're going to do. Well, if they ain't did nothing in the first 3 or 4, then they ain't going to do nothing in the last 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So the bottom line I'm saying is this, and that's why I've been on the forefront for decades doing this work. I fear God and God alone. There's nothing in it for me. We have been criticized, ridiculed, and everything else for doing what God say do. And sometimes we had to stand alone. Now, listen, I want to bring this up very briefly as well, and I want to get Robert's thoughts on it. Right 2 years ago, I stood in front of the Confederate monument and asked for that monument. It had been allocated the money for the removal of the monument. I called on yesterday to the parish attorneys to try to find out why is the monument still there, and we haven't gotten a definitive answer on why the monument still stands when taxpayers $250,000+ has been allocated to move the monument, and it was to go to DeSoto Parish, where the Daughters of the Confederacy said that they are satisfied with it being there. So my thing is, and we tried to call Lyndon and others of the parish commissioners to ask why. I know they had a commission meeting on today. Maybe they're going to discuss that on today. But I want to know, 2 years from today, I stood in front of the courthouse, Kettle Parish Courthouse, and they said that the monument would be removed, give us a few weeks, it'll be gone, you won't see it no more. Well, we're 2 years down the line. So I'm back again, and we're going to call those things out that's not being done, and we're going to congratulate those who are doing what is right.
Well, now this is where things get tricky, because I'm for the will of the people being done.
Right.
Now I'm gonna be real.
Yes, sir.
Me myself, I look at it from the point of view that with the indoctrination that our children are receiving,
Say it.
because it's going to be a little bit, it might shock you what I'm about to say.
No, go ahead.
I'm a firm
believer.
I'm a firm believer that you don't take your monuments down.
Right.
What happens is, this is how they rewrite history. They're teaching your children now in school, in a lot of cases, that slaves, it wasn't that bad for them. They were like the illegal immigrants. They were indentured service. They might have came over here against their will, but they worked hard for a better life. Now you indoctrinate that into your children. You whitewash slavery altogether. You take down the physical reminders of that brutality. 20 to 30 years later, you have a generation that never knew it happened. This is how they always, conquering nations have always erased their history. But now the people have spoken. The monument must go. This is the will of the people. The tax money has been allotted. The money is there. So again, I'm like you. Why is it still there? But once we do get that statue out the way, we still have to remember that they're still lynching people inside that courthouse.
That's it.
Like you just said, with the gerrymandering, something else that came out. Jury striking. This is where they literally, when they go to select a jury, they deliberately try to get as many white people stacked on that jury by striking, I guess you say, black people whom they seem as a threat that might acquit this person. So we have to realize that we're fighting on every level. But again, for us, the statue is the will of the people. For it to be gone, the people say they want it gone. What's the holdup? Are you letting one or two, I guess you could say, undercover closet racists who feel that statue is so vital to their security? I don't see how. But is it one or two people in there just stopping it or stopping the process? Because if you got the money, it shouldn't take nothing. I mean, I know some Negroes with some trucks right now. You can give them $30, $40. They'll come and take it out the way.
They'll move. But I think the general public, and when we fought 14 years ago to remove the flag along with the monument, I think that going into the parish courthouse, and it's just my opinion on it, going into the parish courthouse where we all pay our taxpayers' dollars and seek justice. It shouldn't be on public property. It shouldn't be on public property, because they'll be mad if Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was out there on public property and say, well, this shouldn't be here because we all are taxpayers in the city. So I'm glad that the monument is being removed. It can't be removed quick enough. We asking them to speed up the process, but I just believe, like Brother Robert, my good brother, is that it does not take 2 years from the time it's been passed, the money been allocated, the courts has ruled on it to move that monument. So, that's something needs to go, as well as the judges that are inside of those chambers that are falsely imprisoning our children on a day-to-day basis. I sat in there sometime and they come through like cattle. This system of government that is set up was systematically set up in order to oppress a group of people, incarcerate them, strip them of their rights. We have already been stripped of our cultural continuity as a people. That's why there's no togetherness. That's why whenever this group is over here, they can be a black empowerment group. You got the NAACP over here. You got the Urban League. You got all these different organizations, and nobody can come together as one and help us root out racism and white supremacy. It ain't hard to do. You just got to have people of the same mind that are not fearful of losing anything, but want to gain everything.
And not greedy where they'll take money where they can't help it. But let me show y'all something. Let me give y'all a real game real quick.
Go ahead, take your time.
Slavery has never ceased in America. Do you all understand? Under the 13th Amendment, it basically said that nobody can be denied freedom of life, liberty, and happiness, pursuit of happiness. Nobody shall be held in bondage unless you get convicted of a felony. Right. Why did they bring that clause in? Because here's your slavery today. Your state is the slave owner. The penitentiaries are the plantations.
Right.
The wardens and the COs in the penitentiaries are the overseers, and the inmates are the slaves. It's a whole new form of slavery, and it's just that penitentiary is nothing but a slave ship.
That's what it is.
It's nothing but a warehouse for free labor.
That's
you see what I'm saying? Then going back to what you were saying, Pastor, yes, think about it. It's taken 2 years, even though the court has ruled. How many Negroes went to court today and the court said that I sentence you to 30 years hard labor, but it's 2 years before they let you go to the penitentiary? It don't happen,
It doesn't happen.
So why are they dragging their feet on that statue for 2 years?
That is it. And we out to make sure with the Innocent Program and with others, Curtis Davis, who's in the hospital on today, with all the people that work with us, we are making sure that we get those who have been wrongly convicted out of jail. See, we ain't around here just doing no talking. We've been doing this kind of work for a long time, for decades. And other people have tried to steal the credit and get the credit for work that those of us who have been on the front line doing this work. I question you that when it comes down to families, when it comes down to family members that have been killed, who have you been seeing on the news? Rob, Pastor Mayes, and others that are in this movement. Well, listen, y'all, we are about out of time now. Time goes so quick.
We're trying
to get an hour, if KOKA would allow it, a spot for an hour for us, so that we can give y'all the real talk, because our talk is real and we are not subject under any plantational rules. We just tell it like it is and leave it like we tell it. Until we meet again next Thursday, I am your host, Pastor Linus Mayes. And on this show, we just tell it like it is. You can call KOKA 980 AM, 93.3 FM on your dial. The telephone number is 318-221-9802. And on this show, we keep it real.
For real. That
was good.
Man, I love hang with you, man. Let me make sure. Behind people like you, man, because being scared to fight, man.
Don't tell them the truth. Ain't scared to fight. They gonna leave that truth out there.